You said that judges need to maintain the disguise of objectivity and get more clever and pretend to be objective. And a difficulty for this committee is if you were following that instruction, you'd say the exact same thing right now, wouldn't you?
I am under oath, and I am telling you that I completely disagree with that statement.
Ted Cruz read her own words back to her. She said, minority judges need to keep the disguise of objectivity and pretend to be neutral. Interesting. Then Cruz asked the only question that actually mattered here. What on earth did that mean?
As I look at your record is concerning from the perspective of a judge who will faithfully apply the law. So I look at your record, I see the record of someone who's been an activist her entire adult life. When you were a law student at Harvard Law School, you participated in a 25-hour sit-in in the dean's office, pressing for racial quotas in hiring at law school.
So
At the time, you described your views of judges, where you said the problem of the American legal system was the homogeneity of the bench, and your proposed solution was, quote, minority judges still need to maintain the disguise of objectivity or else face challenges to their decisions. You went on to say, yes, that minority judge is going to identify with their own experiences, but she can't admit this. We've got to get more clever and say, look, we're just as neutral as any 60-year-old white man. What's more pragmatic? To pretend we're objective or to deconstruct objectivity itself?
Oh my God. A judge?
Now, you've tried to back away from that statement since then, but
Of course she did.
what on earth did that mean?
Because it leaked.
Let me first say I have never advocated for quotas. Quotas are unconstitutional. As I said, I do disagree with that statement completely. That was 31 years ago. Since then, I have been a federal criminal prosecutor. I have been a judge on the state court hearing 500 cases a week. I've been a federal district judge for almost 12 years, hearing 719 cases a year, and I have 3,250
So my question was, what does that mean?
opinions.
Not how many decisions have you
Right.
heard as a judge? What did that mean when you said?
No, I'm just saying that there is a record to determine.
Judge, you're familiar with asking questions and answering questions. What did you mean when you said that?
It was 31 years ago. I don't recall specifically, but I'm sure I said, what I said is what I meant at the time. I think it's completely wrong. I disagree with it. That's not how I've lived my life.
I don't believe
how
it.
I've served
So
the
I guess the
government.
challenge is what you said is that that at the time when you were in law school, you weren't a child. You were a student at Harvard Law School. You said that judges need to maintain the disguise of objectivity.
And then she became a judge, and then obviously later on in her life, she says, I never meant any of those things as the information starts to basically leak to the public. But you're a judge now, right? So how are we supposed to honestly, seriously here? Okay, like what if you put someone away and then they found this information and then they went to someone else and basically said, how can we trust this person to rule over me? Because I fit in some group that she obviously has been against historically. All right. How can her ruling even be valid any longer if she basically espoused all of what she is deeply in the first place? I'm going to become a judge and I'm going to act like I'm impartial here. That if you come into my courtroom by default, I'm going to judge against you or judge harsher on you because you fit into a group that I absolutely have disdain for.
You said that judges need to maintain the disguise of objectivity and get more clever and pretend to be objective. And a difficulty for this committee is if you were following that instruction, you'd say the exact same thing right now, wouldn't you?
I am under oath, and I am telling you that I completely disagree with that statement. And you can look at the
All right, then
271 trials I've had.
then let's go to your judicial record, because as I look at your judicial record, I am concerned as well. Recently, you determined that a state regulation that banned Bible study, that banned collective prayer, that banned worship in an individual's home, while at the same time allowing activities like in-home commercial filming, was neutral and generally applicable. According to you, according to the decision, apparently people who attend Bible study are a greater threat under COVID than movie stars when it comes to health and responsibility. Now,
this is an old ruling here specifically that she did here.
that decision, of course, went up to the U.S. Supreme Court in 6-3. The Supreme Court said, no, you're wrong. What'd you get wrong?
The Supreme Court in Tandon has held that when you're looking at comparable activity, you look at the government interest that's asserted and not the reasons why people are gathering. That clarification has been very important. That is what I will fully, faithfully, and fairly apply going forward.
Why do you think
assume
that movie stars somehow are held to a different standard than people who are coming to a Bible study?
Because she sides with them. Understand this here. Like, look at Hollywood. What does Hollywood, for the most part, exude and represent? They represent the exact type of activism that she has been the entirety of her life here, guys. All right, so she's like, hold on. These guys are the good guys, and you over here who are doing Bible studies in your home here, all right, are the bad guys because you guys represent every single thing that doesn't represent everything that I basically, like and enjoy. That's basically what she's saying, but doesn't want to say it.
I was following the Ninth Circuit precedent. They looked at all the restrictions on the movie industry and said that the risk transmission risk was lower because of all the restrictions. They had mandatory multiple testings per week, and they had a lot of restrictions that said that they had scientific evidence that the risk was lower.
Your opinion applied rational scrutiny to this restriction on religious freedom. The Supreme Court reversed that and applied strict scrutiny. There's a world of difference between rational basis and strict scrutiny. Again, why did you get it so wrong? And how can the American people have comfort that if you're a Court of Appeals judge, you will faithfully protect their rights to religious liberty?
I applied strict scrutiny as well, and I was following Ninth Circuit precedent at the time, which said you look at the risks of transmission and you go through 7 factors to consider it. And at the time, the Sixth Circuit decision, which was not enjoined by the Supreme Court, said if you have a neutral, generally applicable rule that applies to both religious schools and public schools and other private schools, that survives strict scrutiny. And so the precedent that existed at the time is what I followed in issuing my decision.
But answer my second question?
I fully understand that Tandon is the law of the land. That is absolutely what I will follow, that you cannot assume the worst when people go to worship and assume the best when they go to work, and that you have to look at the government interest at stake, and that all of the rulings and holdings in Tandon, that's the law of the land. That's what I will apply going forward in any case that raises these issues.
Guys, but the problem is that you kind of already forecasted exactly what you were going to do. Guys, she's basically acting like a female variant of Chud the Builder, right? I'm going to go ahead and say exactly what I'm going to do, then I'm going to do it, and I'm going to try to get off. That's basically what's happening right here, guys. So, right, if you don't know who Chud the Builder is, Google him. Have fun. How can I trust any single thing that you say if you already laid the groundwork? Right, you've already set the plan. You put the plan out there, right? Like you put it in motion for the most part. You've gotten to the exact position that you said you were going to get into, and you're expecting us still to believe you. I'm not sure that's how life works, bro. I'm not. Nah. You exposed the plan, you got caught, and now you're here basically floundering. My opinion here is I cannot trust someone who sets up a plan, the plan comes to fruition, and then when you get called out, you act like you didn't set the plan up because the plan got leaked to the public. Are we stupid here, guys? Like, are we all just a bunch of idiots? Are we supposed to now believe truthfully here that she's just and true and going to have the ability right now to rule non-biasly and not coming from the activist angle that she specifically came from? Let me know in the comments on a serious note. That's a serious one right there, my guys and girls. like all four of you that follow me. Welcome. Stay well. All right, but listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. In the meantime, guys, I'll come and catch you guys later.